Hi friends, this is Kapun Piso. Going to talk about evolution. And today is November 1st, 2015. Interesting program with Farid Zakaria mentioning, talking to Richard Dawkins about how crazy these people in the GOP that none of them believe in reality of evolutionary biology. But they forget to mention one thing that proves evolution. 3 letters. DNA. DNA that evolves, and the brain is the creator of thinking. It's so simple. Do you believe in God? You're psychotic. You're a tiltard.
To do is about what God wants you to do. And God's told me He wants you to do this. Oh, I pulled it all out. That He was the right person for the job.
See?
And I had to do everything I could.
Creationism Psychosis.
Now, you've...
God.
Doing this job.
What is God? Imaginary friend of all irrational belief acceptance.
Other office, namely
Mental
the
illness.
White House, because you get pretty messy and the job.
Sick man. Cries all the time.
So do you think it's still possible for him to be president?
No, I'm not sure that...
Anyone that enjoys killing animals for fun in this 21st century is a psychopath. He has a problem with the brain. They need to see blood and torture things.
All religious psychosis is stagnate the intellect. They stagnate the mind, keep people stuck in the past. Centuries, all of them do. That they don't evolve. They stop the brains from evolving. That's why they're so stupid and ignorant and demented and deluded. They keep reading the same book over and over, the same stuff with the same chant, the same mantras, repeating the same crap over and over. They don't evolve. They don't advance. It's a pretty good example. This is also Buddhism psychosis.
I've been possessed by ancient alien psychosis.
You see what they're doing here? This is Buddhism psychosis. The people are stuck in the past. They do also have imaginary friend of all irrational belief acceptance, like all religions do. So some idiot that doesn't say that Buddhism is a philosophy, it's not a religion, they're full of crap. They are very ignorant. Because all these imaginary friends, or the bizarre mythological beliefs, they're stuck in the brain and keep people stuck in the past, stagnated the intellect. That's the reason they dress like this. Poor kids. They're raping the brain of children like they do in churches. That's what they do. They don't evolve. They don't teach them science. They read the same old stupid book over and over for millennia, and the same like the Bible, Quran, and all the rest of stupid, ridiculous books. They keep these people. They keep the brain ignorant. Ignorant. Except this guy might be a mentally healthy atheist eventually because he's falling asleep and he just don't care about this stuff and he chants. But so he could be an atheist. Become an atheist, mentally healthy. So anyway, this is the problem. Religion is a mental illness. It's a very dangerous cancer of the brain and corrupt the brain of children. Keep them tiltarded, stuck in the past.
In 1859, Charles Darwin published his seminal book on the origin of species. In it, he laid out his theory of evolution, eventually applying it to all animals from finches to human beings. Creationism, which states that God created men and women in His own image, as the Bible states.
Psychosis.
To the Pew Research Center, 98% of the professional scientists who are members of the American Association for the Advancement of Science believe that humans and other living things have evolved over time. But when the American public was polled, just 65% said they believe that. And of the GOP candidates, well, as you'll find out in a moment, almost none of them seem to believe it.
See that?
I wanted to learn about evolution from one of the greatest...
Psychosis is like a schizophrenics.
Richard Dawkins is a British evolutionary biologist. He is a longtime Oxford professor who has written prolifically on science and atheism, which he espouses. He has a new memoir out called Brief.
Our brains, product of coitus, composed of DNA, creates thought, don't they? When I say this, I dare you to prove me wrong. I dare you. Anyone. And the key is this, is the brain is the creator. When the brain is sick, it produces religious beliefs and psychosis and all these schizophrenias and all neurological disorders. Here. Prove me wrong. Prove that this, what I'm saying, is not true. Prove it. Prove it. I can take you and operate your brain and you'll see that I'm correct. Religion is a brain disease, a mental illness.
Currently, the Republican presidential candidates, as far as I know, every single one of the declared candidates, with the exception of Trump, about whom one doesn't know which way he would answer, when asked about evolution, essentially say they don't believe it. And Jeb Bush was asked it, he said, well, I sort of believe it, but I don't think it should be taught in schools.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is not something you believe in or not. I mean, this is a fact. It is a fact. It's just as much of a fact as that the Earth goes round the sun. You can't not believe it unless you're ignorant. And I don't believe those presidential candidates are all ignorant. I believe what they're doing is they think that they've got to say that in order to appeal to their constituents.
No. Fareed Zakaria, Dawkins, and in many, many discussions against religious beliefs and all that, and the GOP, the brain is never mentioned. It's ignored.
Depressing.
No.
Wonderful little book, The Magic of Reality. You
You
talk
understand about the brain?
So how would you explain?
But the brain is damaged.
I don't.
Dawkins is blind.
What do you use the most powerful evidence for evolution?
The
Blind.
most powerful evidence is probably not fossils, although fossils are the main evidence for the actual history of life. The most powerful evidence that evolution has happened is probably molecular genetics.
IDA is composed of molecular genetics with DNA.
DNA evolves. Look at that. 47 million years old. Our ancestor. A primate, a lemur, called Ida. We are actually powered by viruses. The Borna virus, in 2010, it's been discovered that it is in the primate genome. This virus. And I believe the dysfunction of this virus is what makes us evolve mutated primates, crazy primates that really have all this thinking, that gives us intelligence, it gives you all the ideas, understanding abstraction, understanding the self and everything else, make the brain evolve. But it also causes religious schizophrenia and brain disorders. This virus here, the Borna virus. Look at that. I'm not bullshitting here. These are all facts. This is science, folks. Borna is in patients with schizophrenia, schizoaffective patients, the biological relative, etc. And the bizarre metamagical beliefs at the core of all religions. All religions. There's a crazy thinking, conspiracy theory and crap like that included. All that, these bizarre metamagical beliefs, crazy beliefs, are also at the core of all schizophrenias and brain disorders. Rest my case. Here it is. I don't say it. Science does. And see, it's amazing to me that somebody so brilliant and smart as Richard Dawkins doesn't understand that religious people with all these crazy beliefs, they don't believe in this, they don't believe in reality, is due to a psychosis that they have, to a problem in the brain. A religious person is a psychotic person. He's no different than a schizophrenic person. A person with sick reasoning. And the brain is the creator of thinking. Why is Richard Dawkins so blind? And he's supposed to be an evolutionary biologist? What is wrong with him? Doesn't use his brain. He never mentions the brain as the organ that produces thinking. And the fact that we are created by coitus. The brain is created by coitus, the spit of a sperm. Richard Dawkins never say that. And this is the problem. He's blind. As well as many, many other scientists and neuroscientists. It's incredible, the ignorance. And that's what you have with the crazy religious people, imbeciles, spreading all this HIV of their neural array in churches. Spreading all that crap in churches. And there you have it. And this is the reason, is they are sick people. Religious people are sick people. They don't understand it. And Richard Dawkins is blind not to say it. And it really makes me mad that
The truth flies above his head.
About religious being, all the religious, and it's not true, and they are not intellectual, and they are not educated. No, they are sick people. And it doesn't discriminate. There can be very intellectual, very scientific people that are sick with the schizophrenia. And religion is one of these schizophrenias. Come on, Richard, wake up.
Darwin's time, the comparative data, you look at a human hand and you compare it with a bat's wing, a whale's flipper, a lion's paw, you see that the same bones, you can identify them bone for bone, the humerus, the radius, the ulna, the phalanges, and so on. That was in Darwin's time. Now we can do that same kind of thing, but with molecules, with coded letters of DNA and equivalent in protein. Use of code, and you can actually compare.
That's a fact.
The letter by letter, exactly as you might.
You have to be psychotic.
Versions of
or extremely ignorant.
Jeremiah or something. I mean, it's
not to see it.
A comparison. See? You can actually count the number of differences in millions between, say, humans and chimpanzees, humans plus chimpanzees and monkeys, hippopotamuses. You can take any two animals you like and look at their molecules and literally count the number of letters that are different.
We're related to everything, every life form on the planet.
Evidence. Darwin would have loved it.
Exactly.
You see medicine at Yale, and he says he's a creationist. He thinks that God created the world. And he says, you're going to tell me that the complexity of the human brain, and he's a surgeon, came out of a soup full of chemicals and such?
Well, I'm going to tell him that, but not suddenly. I mean, it took a very, very long time, but by gradual stages. That's what these people don't understand. They think
you keep ignoring the brain. A sick brain cannot understand between fact and fiction.
That, of course you don't believe it, obviously. It couldn't happen suddenly. But if it happens gradually, each stage just gives you the next stage, the next stage, the next stage.
Like a cat snap his fingers.
A tiny bit different from the one before. Then you can start understanding it.
Exactly.
You just told me that all the Republican candidates except one say they don't believe in evolution. I mean, that's a disgrace. But for a senior, a very eminent, distinguished doctor, as he is,
he's sick.
It's even worse. Because, of course, evolution is the bedrock of biology.
The brain is the universe within us that we create thoughts with. Past, present, and future are one. Quantum thought. When the brain is sick, it cannot tell between fact and fiction. It's okay when it's very young during the printing period, but when it starts getting the information and you have demented, deluded beliefs, accepting mythologies as a reality, just like in religious and in schizophrenias, this is indicative of a mental disorder. This is the problem. Religion is one of the schizophrenias. Conspiracy theory and the rest of it.
There is no difference between the bizarre metamagical beliefs at the core of all religions, conspiracy theories, and all the schizophrenias and mental disorders.
Distinguished doctor to not understand. I have to use the word understand. He clearly doesn't understand.
No, he's sick.
The fundamental theorem of his own subject.
He's sick!
It is a terrible indictment.
So when people say it's a theory, it's worth pointing out, it's a theory like all of science is a theory.
Exactly.
That it does
exactly.
rest on evidence.
Yeah, we've got to stop calling it a theory because the word theory is misunderstood.
Exactly.
It's taken to mean hypothesis. It's a fact.
Evolution is a fact.
Another way of putting it would be, it's a theory that has been confirmed by thousands of pieces
thousands and thousands
exactly.
of independent, mutually confirming pieces of data.
A very important Republican candidate,
yes.
But also because I think he represents what a lot of people think.
He's sick!
This represents
sick.
the height of arrogance of humans to believe
He's not arrogant.
that they can understand God's mystery.
Yes.
God, what is God?
Mr. Carson, arrogant, he's a nice man, I've met him.
What is God?
I liked him. But it is a form of arrogance.
These people are blind.
Know what God does. I mean, the only way.
What is God?
By looking at the evidence.
Creation of your brain, you idiot.
The evidence is overwhelming. There are plenty of scientific ideas where the evidence
blind.
is overwhelming, and there scientists disagree, and it's open to doubt and needs further research. But in the case of evolution, there is no doubt. It is a fact. A great pleasure as always. Thank you very much.
Fareed Zakaria is brilliant. The man is incredibly intelligent. He should wake up too. Realize that the brain is a way of thinking. He's proud of coitus. His brain was proud of coitus, Fareed Zakaria. In India. He's from India. And there you go. And that's what you create. If you start creating religious beliefs that are mental illness, including Hindu psychosis. Many of these things. So you should realize it. Look, Farik. This is what you have inside your body, Farik. DNA. And it creates thought. The brain is the one that creates thought. When it's sick, it creates crazy thinking. Religion. Psychosis. Here is the truth.